Hello everyone, welcome to Lextech Meet 3.0. Myself Arpit Viswas, serving as the moderator for this episode. Today we are discussing on the topic of green blockchain technology and how is it going to impact us. Today we have with us Mr. Raj A. Kapoor, the founder and chairman of India Blockchain Alliance and chief growth officer at Chainsense Limited, the largest Indian emerging technology think tank, and he is also an advisory member of over 20 blockchain companies, including Firechain, Floex, Spherium, Afoma, Nextblock, and more. He is global blockchain cryptocurrency and fintech educator, certified Bitcoin professional, blockchain solution architect, and friend of disruptive ideas. He is also the Asia lead technology and innovation at Blockspace Technologies Limited. He regularly contributes to several technology publications, including Times Tech India, and also other publications such as Money Control, Decrypt, Economic Times, Times of India, and more. Mr. Raj was also selected as a top cryptocurrency and blockchain influencer by Asian Market Cap, and presently he is mentoring 30 plus blockchain startups across the globe. He has authored 20 plus blockchain courses on fintech, on DeFi, NFTs, metaverse, which are implemented by NASCOM, NSDC, CII, and multiple other edtech platforms like Unacademy in India and abroad. He has designed and worked on four blockchains, five centralized exchanges, three swaps, and three DEXs, and lot more to come. Mr. Raj is also working on world's several sustainable and social impact blockchain projects, which are aligned with the UN Sustainable Developmental Goals. Last but not the least, he is also known as the godfather of blockchain. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. Happy to be there.
Starting with our first question, what is green blockchain technology? Why is it important for the community at large? So, before you provide your insights on this particular question for the general understanding of our viewers, could you please explain what exactly is the bottom line between a green blockchain technology and a sustainable blockchain technology?
Okay, now just give a brief. What is blockchain in the first place? Blockchain is nothing but a distributed ledger technology. It, unlike others, right now we have more like centralized databases. Blockchain makes it decentralized. This is the key difference. There are many, many more. If I keep speaking on that, we'll go through the whole program on that. But I think the more pertinent question that you have is the difference between regular blockchains and green blockchains. Well, as we all know, blockchains consume a lot of energy. Uh, that is one of the major. Well, when it started off, to be very honest, nobody really envisaged that blockchain would become such a phenomenon, and cryptocurrencies and tokens and so many more things would be created out of that. Nobody really thought so. Way back in 2008 and 9 when it came out, there were very few transactions, and therefore the consensus mechanism that was designed around that time, that is proof of work, worked at that time because it did not require so much computation power. A consensus mechanism means several people all agree at the same time. If I say 10 minus 8 is equal to 2, everybody should say 2 and they can calculate that and say, yes, it's 2. Because mathematics can never go wrong. That's the only source of truth. And that's exactly how it is embedded in blockchain. So at that point of time, there were a handful of people. Today, there are millions and billions of users. So even the consumption has gone up exponentially. And so much so that it has actually become a real pain for many governments. Many of them banning it. China has banned it. Many other countries are banning it. India doesn't allow mining. So many countries don't allow this because A, it is not great, it's not good for the environment. It takes a lot of consumption of energy. In fact, the amount of energy used for mining Bitcoin is more than the energy consumption of the entire United Kingdom. That itself should speak a lot. That's now. It never used to be like that first. So, to counter that, each blockchain that started before and now looks into the greening aspect of blockchain. By greening, we mean being more environmental friendly, by using less electricity, less gas fees, less usage of computing power. So the green blockchain basically is nothing else but the blockchain the same, but the green blockchain uses a better consensus mechanism, also called proof of stake, and thereby making that little difference. And of course, the Bitcoin's Lightning Network and many more Cardano's having a lot of other options coming in. And I'll talk to you about a very nice, my personal favorite, I'll share a little later also, on how much they are using. I don't know how many of us actually know that there is a blockchain called Signum, and Signum uses less than 0.002% of Bitcoin's energy to drive blockchain and its coin. It's actually a no e-waste, and that's the type of new blockchains emerging, making them what we call green blockchains.
So, how sustainable is that blockchain? When people sometimes coin the word in the article itself, sometimes it is written it's a green blockchain technology, somewhere it is written a sustainable blockchain technology. How could you differentiate those green blockchain as a sustainable one?
Okay, I'll give the same example of Signum, and there are others like that. Why I'm giving Signum? Because that is the most economical one right now. Not many people know about it. People know about Cardano, people know about other Avalanche, etc. But let me tell you what makes, say a blockchain like Signum sustainable. Many blockchains claim to be sustainable. That I'm telling you that right now. But this particular one, Signum, is at the forefront because since 2019, the team has been working on making this really sustainable. Now, what does it do? It introduced to the world the proof of commitment, not proof of work, not proof of stake, but a new type of consent, proof of commitment, which is the decentralized consensus. We all know the proof of work consensus, which is used by Bitcoin and other coins, and POC uses available disk space. That is proof of commitment now. So instead of using external, it uses the internal, it uses available disk space. Disk space, it offers a new way for miners to increase their storage by committing a certain balance or stake in their account, something close to proof of stake only, but in a different manner. They also secure the network and the greener option, since capacity can be increased actually without even more equipment, because they're using existing storage power. So one of the most important things in what I think they do really is it actually becomes a solution, and these big blockchains become a solution for everyday applications that right now are running on really energy-hungry blockchains. And this is some of the most important things they are bringing to the table. In all fairness, actually, sustainability and innovation is very, very critical because if you don't do that, a lot of blockchains will die a natural death in the world. It makes the blockchain and the green blockchains make not only the blockchain, but the community stronger, the adoption stronger, the validation stronger. Right now, they're moving into the spotlight and they're going to be in the top 50 in no time. So, in my opinion, we can have a lot of options, we can have a lot of change if we decide to bring in the right consensus mechanisms, and that's going to be the only game changer. Otherwise, blockchain is doomed. The electricity it uses can't sustain. Well, especially countries like India, no way. That's one of the things. Some other countries also are doing a lot of work in this space. For example, uh, when we talk about green blockchains, this was about a blockchain. But let me also talk to you about a couple of things like governments in northern Sweden, for example. There's a Canadian blockchain company called HIVE blockchain. It relies on the local hydropower plant to power its crypto mining facility. That is trying to also move in a good direction. These are some great examples. Another one in Poland, for example, they're using solar panels and solar farms to mine energy, to mine coins, etc. This consumes obviously less electricity, and the excessive solar power can also be used and traded in the future for that. These are just some of the examples. There are plenty more. These are some very, I think, they are actually trying to make a difference. So, if you sum it up, proof of stake, in this case, proof of commitment, committing the computing power, the storage. Then we have solar panel, solar being used, and then we have hydropower being used. All these are some of the ways, not all the ways, but this is some of the ways the world is battling and making blockchains sustainable and green.
Right. So right now, as we have just communicated right now, the Bitcoin, the proof of work has just consumed 11.68 gigawatts of energy as per the Cambridge
Yeah,
Bitcoin City
yeah.
Consumption Index. right? There is another concept which is coming up. As per the research, a minting of an NFT in blockchain uses around 83 kgs of carbon dioxide. If you bid on the NFT, it will NFT. It costs around 51 kg of CO carbon dioxide, and every transfer of NFTs cost 30 kgs of carbon dioxide.
Right.
And it actually total up to 187 kgs of carbon dioxide actually. And this is the latest research. And there's a new concept which is coming up, green NFTs. Could you shed some light on green NFTs and how is it going to impact the community at large?
Green NFTs are going to be directly correlated to green blockchains, right? If you have a blockchain which is more eco-friendly, your NFT minting and mining. Now, of course, everybody doesn't use Ethereum for mining, for minting or NFTs because it's really expensive. The gas fees are more, and of course, the consumption is exceptional. Green NFTs are going to be an offshoot. See, there apart from green NFTs, a lot of people are trying to work with side chains. That would be an option because that will not, take so much energy. Then we can just have single use NFT. At one point, you can just burn it once. This is one of the ways they're doing it. So NFTs are going to be evolving itself. Trust me, there are no such thing as green NFTs even right now. There's a lot of talk about it, but there really are not. Yes, there are many attempts in this direction. We are the ground floor of that stage right now. It's just a question of time before we actually evolve because that is the natural path ahead. However, today I would not say green NFTs are real. They are working towards it, yes. The green chains are going to be the ones which are going to really make the impact. The avalanches are coming. There are the Solanos coming. There are a lot of them. Cardano is really doing well in that space, and I think very soon we will see a move, and Ethereum won't have basically the big boss, of NFT minting, so they won't be there very long. I think what you should also know is that what are some of the countries and some of the very cool green blockchain initiatives, because once you understand these initiatives, it'll answer most of your questions on not only the blockchain but also the NFTs.
Right.
For example, NFTs is one part. Yes, a lot of people are very, very interested in NFT. That's okay. Going to be based on the green blockchains. But I think what is also important, and I'd like to share this with all listening in here. I'm going to talk about 4 or 5 very beautiful use cases where we can actually using carbon chains or green blockchains to offer, say, green finance. Uh, for example, there's a lot of things, for example, are negated when individual initiatives to live sustainably get negated, when the bank deposits are used to subsidize coal mining operations, for example. Startups create tools and solutions, lots of things happening. Carbon accounting tools, I don't know whether you've heard of them. Carbon accounting tools have been created by a British company called, I think, Carbon Chain to receive green funding. They calculate the carbon footprints of corporations to determine which transactions are vulnerable to rising carbon prices. And Carbon Chain does risk evaluations. So this is a great thing which is being done for the greening of the blockchain. You may have even heard of this company called Regal. Regal is another British company that offers actually green financial compliance solutions. And clients now can invest in sustainable initiatives using the green blockchain. These are, again, great examples of how people are encouraging green blockchains. There's another company called Tomorrow. I don't know whether you've heard of that, but Tomorrow, it facilitates sustainable mobile banking. It's a German startup, basically. And it's a premium service that lets you fund climate change projects like clean drinking water in Uganda, biogas in Vietnam, development in Peru, could be anywhere. We haven't got them all here. They're all aligning themselves with the SDGs. So these are 3, 4 examples. Then, of course, there is another one, the Trillion, which provides green digital finance. It's a Chinese startup working on the blockchain digital financial network for environmental firms. And these and many more, like Miris is there, Green Finance Framework is there. These are doing a lot of work within this space. And I think that is what is very critical. We need companies to come out with a lot of green credits, carbon credits, environmental, aligning with SDGs. We need all that. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of it. There's more talk and less action. But we are glad that a lot of young startups are working on that. In fact, there is a very nice startup I'm working with, which is actually trying to control. Let's for a moment put the blockchain to one side. The environment is going for a toss. We, in 12 years' time, if we don't preserve the environment and our seas and oceans, we will not be there to even have a look at each other. We will not be able to meet each other because there'll be no humanity there. 12 years is all what we got. So there is this wonderful company called Sea, S-E-A, Sea.Earth. That's the website. You can have a look. It's a great thing. What they have done is they use your existing mobile phones. All mobile phones have sensors. So without creating new technology or new apps, the same sensors using that technology, they capture all the environmental data, humidity, wind speed, etc., rain, etc. Everything, it just gets uploaded onto a blockchain. And then they use artificial intelligence to make the business models to predict weather patterns, climatic change, etc. In fact, if this technology was there 20 years back, we wouldn't have the weather changes we have now. We wouldn't have the tsunamis. We wouldn't have these unseasonal rains. We wouldn't have the heat, etc. So while we talk about green blockchains, we should also talk about where environment can be protected by the same technology, which is actually people is all always saying, oh, it's consuming energy. So with green blockchains and green initiatives, that is the combination which is really important. Not so much NFTs, not so much blockchain. Yes, the blockchains are going to evolve. The NFTs are a small part of it, but the larger picture is bringing the environment. And can we make a social impact? Yes, we can make a social impact.
Right. So, as we can sum up that most of the blockchain projects which are claiming as the green NFTs are not itself as a green NFT or sustainable itself.
Not
It,
really completely. They're definitely working towards that. We cannot take it away from them. They're
yes.
definitely doing it. But there's a little way to go still. And yes, by using the greener blockchains, by minting on greener blockchains, that's going to be an automatic byproduct for sure.
Moving on to our last questions, let's date back to the history. The UN held the first global conference on the human environment in Stockholm in June 1972, where our late Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, said, who can care for the environment when their basic needs are not being met? Are not poverty and need the greatest polluters? Can developing country has the opportunity to adopt the green blockchain to leverage its economy and come at par with developed countries? What would be your thought about it?
Yes, I think her point was valid during those days. Yes, we didn't have blockchains anyways.
Right.
Now with blockchain technology, yes, why don't we can? Because A, we can bring in better efficiencies, we can bring in better systems, we can have better computation power. That is one part of it. And I said about how environmental monitoring that can be that can be done, and all these will help make the world better. Anyways, bringing in the poor, in fact, the very fact that we have blockchain and Bitcoin actually brings in a lot of unbanked into the slowly into the mainstream, and thereby giving them more economic power. After in the last 20 years have been the emergence of micro loans, microfinance, etc. All that has come, and it benefits these who have been always at the periphery. So let's look at that. Put it this way: the next half billion, or the NHB, is the next generation which we want to bring into mainstream. Is going to be also majorly because we'll have a blockchain system to work on. We'll have cross-border financing. We'll have a lot more. Blockchain brings with us so many things. We cannot even count how many they can benefit. But it brings a lot of people into mainstream. And the more people that come in mainstream, it's better for the economy, better for the GDPs, better for everybody. Lifestyle becomes better. There are very, very many initiatives now, and right from small things like the Akshay Patra schemes on blockchain. Then we have an NFT for that is digital art for social impact, which is an NFT program creating social impact for the underprivileged. There are blockchain programs for women, etc. All these gender diversity, all these things are being ticked off. So basically, if you look at it, the SDGs one by one are getting ticked off, and blockchain is playing a major role in that. Blockchain can't solve all problems, but it can definitely accelerate the process on solving major and achieving the major SDG goals.
Thank you, Mr. Raj, for joining us today and giving your valuable time and speaking about green blockchain and the sustainable development goals. And it was an insightful session, and I hope our viewers will get some knowledge bites. If you and For the viewers, if the viewers have any question, you can just always leave a comment below on the channel itself. and we will be happy to answer. And we can also direct those questions to Mr. Raj Kapoor, sir, who would be pleased to answer those questions for you.
Well, everybody download the app of Sea, that's for sure. You can always help the environment in your own way. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
Sea.Earth, that's the website.
Yes.